Shandong, an agricultural giant and economic powerhouse on the east coast of China.
A land with captivating landscapes, magnificent mountains, lakes, springs, and beaches.
A testament to ancient Chinese civilization, it's the birthplace of Confucius, Mencius, and great thinkers alike.
Join us in our special series, Fields of Hope,
to see how rural revitalization has transformed people's lives in Shandong and beyond. Only on CGTN.
Well, welcome everyone to CGTN's Fields of Hope special series, where we are showing you what China is doing to improve the well-being for the still 500 million people that live in its vast countryside. So we are currently in a village called Wang, which sits neatly inside this mountainous area in the eastern part of Shandong Province. So this used to be a remote and poor village, but now this area is fully connected to the rest of the country. The per capita disposable income of people in this village has jumped by more than 30% in 5 years. Through years of hard work to eradicate absolute poverty and having achieved a moderately prosperous society in all respects for its people, the living standards in China's rural areas have now greatly improved. But the job is far from done. China is certainly not resting on its laurels. In 2017, the country unveiled a strategy called Rural Vitalization. The aim? To ensure that no one, no village, no small town, no county, no city, and no region is left behind in sharing in the fruits of the country's development and modernization drive. So welcome everyone to our Fields of Hope Roundtable, a mission to develop rural China. I'm Michael Wang. 欢迎大家来到我们 CGTN 乡村中国圆桌青年说。今天我们的主题呢是以青春之名奔赴家乡。
young people come back to their village to help empower rural revitalization. We have Yu Zhenrong, who is a startup businessman in Shandong, and Wei Zicheng, a public servant in Xiaoying village of Weihai, city of Shandong. She's now serving as the assistant village head. And Ms. Zhang, associate professor from the Renmin University of China. Her main research field is transformed development. And Mr. Yu Zhenhai, he is a head of a villager cooperative. So welcome you all. First, we have very delicious food and fruits. On the vegetable, we have lychee. We have this is a traditional. This is a local egg. So this is the season of harvest. Let me ask you. So you also studied in Beijing, and Beijing is a metropolis. You also studied overseas, but you chose to return to your hometown because Wendong is your home. So I want to ask you, what is the reason of your choice?
Well, why I chose to come back, that sort of trace back to my experience in university. When I second year in my university, actually be a professor is from the national laboratory. So we have studied a national strategic project. So we actually grew strawberries. We have a strawberry park in my village. Before I entered to that project in national laboratory, I thought our strawberry from my village, I'm so proud of it, should be best quality. But after I went to the laboratory, I found that the way of growing and also even the seeds, actually there are a big difference from what I saw in the laboratory. So that is why I asked my professor to invite him to my village to say, can we introduce all these really advanced way of growing strawberries to my village? So my professor came to my a village, and you could see that the quality of strawberries totally changed. So that also shaped me quite well. So when I studied abroad in Sweden, I also talked to the overseas Chinese students there, and also make up my mind to see that we have all these really good studies or the research in universities. Why we not build a bridge to commercialize all these good studies, projects, and also to bring all these really good products from the villages to the market?
Have you received any support from the local government?
Yes. So think about that, the village cooperatives actually they provide a place for me, and they provide a farm for me, the land for me. And also we talk about the headcount cost has also reduced a lot thanks for their great support. So all these initial investment actually helped me reduce a lot of burden at the very beginning. So from university, the Beijing Forest University also established a station for rural revitalization. So my professor in charge of this station. So based on the village, the local situation, they help us to introduce professors from the cross disciplines. So you could see that the professor from the seeding department, the farmer produce processing, the garden sector, all came here, provide a solution.
So I think the strawberry that you grow must be very tasteful. And I can tell you it's very delicious. And I know the grapes are just delicious, and I don't know about your strawberries. So how many people do you have in your company? How many jobs have you brought?
Well, talking about this, every year, let's say, we have around 230 people worked. Some is a seasonal job. So if we talk about the local village, the average disposable income, that's around 43,000 RMB. And that's for the pension for the elderly people, that's about 6,000 yuan per year.
So 43,000 yuan, to me, that's quite remarkable for a village.
Yes.
So, Mr. Zhang, I think this is one of the highlights of rural revitalization here in China, because universities are working together with villages. So you can truly bring a lot of talents to the villages.
Yes, indeed. So look at these years. This is the one kind of the mode promoted by the government, that you could see that we have a national government, and also like Mr. Yu, this very young man, and devoted himself to the local endeavor, and also this join the laboratory, and also bring all these research, the theories to the really actual marketable products. So that's a very good example, best practice. So if you go to the different villages across the country, you could find that we have teams of doctors, university students, professors visit different places. So we also encourage all the professors bring their students to the village to bring their best knowledge, best practice, and also make their dissertation really from the field. That's also the General Secretary Xi also emphasized this part. So we talk about that as the last mile of promoting the university outcomes, and really quickly bring that to the support to local farmers.
So you yourself walked into the villages. Yes, this is a very good story. So how about you? Have you seen friends around you, young people like you, who travel back to villages? You know, I live in a city as well, and whenever I come back to the countryside, I feel very natural. I feel very relieved and relaxed. And tell me about your friends. Do you have any classmates or friends who travel back to the hometown to start up their own business. Do you think this is a trend?
Well, I think yes. I believe this for sure be a trend. So take myself, for example. If you look at my staff, actually some of them visit to Weihai for tourism, or like the graduate students, I say major in mathematics, they think they can play a role here in the village, and that they visit us to find a job. And also the university students, we also have the recruitment campaign in universities. So we also like to invite students to work for the villages. So far the average age is 32 years old, so a very young team. So if you look at the village or the whole efforts here in village, so General Secretary Xi says this is a vast place, and the providing a variety of opportunities for young generations to really to sharp their skills. Plenty opportunities.
I think there's great potential going forward for all of you. So you're now working in Xiaoying village.
Yes.
How many people do you have there?
So far, that's around 340, and the maximum is around 700. So the average age quite high. So, but for yourself,
so tell us, what is a public servant?
so you think this can't be a organization place. So we have a pretty high threshold. So you need to be the party member or a cadre at the university. And also we have really to at the top of a cream.
Just like you.
So that's kind of like you select 1 out of 80.
Well, to my knowledge, after very competitive examinations, the government is selecting the very best talent and dispatch them to the village to inject more vitality.
Yes, indeed. So look at its selection. It's like also the selection public servants candidates. But the difference is that if we look at their credential, actually very strict, but exam is not that way too challenging. But still, we talk about a selection based on a candidate's their willingness, because a lot of jobs actually in really remote places, they should have that willingness to work in these places, to train themselves, to sharpen their skills, to really know that how the village people work and live, and then they have a different way later on to have a broader stage to show that what they have learned, so they can quickly grow up. This is a very good way.
This is a very special system.
Based on my understanding, you not only have to be capable in terms of your character, you must have a certain kind of virtue as well, and moral uprightness in order to be a young public servant under this kind of institutional model.
So that is my understanding. So, Zicheng, you are very young. You come to your village, and do you think sometimes you are just like a tutor, or do you have some mentor who tell you how to be close and provide better service to the local villagers? Yes, because we have at the township level, I have a mentor, I have a supervisor. Because I'm based in the village, I have to report to the party secretary at the township level. I'm living together with the fellow villagers. I'm learning together with them.
So of course you should be the best in your class, right? And also you volunteer yourself working here. You're from Shandong, but you're actually not really from this village specifically. So we talk about that, your own experience, how that help you to play your role.
Well, I think Mr. Yu said it very well. General Secretary Xi said there is a lot we can do at the villages, and the village is just a vast stage where we can present very good performance as young talents.
So any your experience you'd like to share with us working in the village? So like you really help the local village or have a touching stories?
Well, we have to do a lot. As a village cadre, we're doing flood control and disaster prevention. A couple of days ago, we had a large flood, so I traveled into all the parts of the villages just to rule out the possibilities of dangers and hazards. We are just making great contribution to the village. I have to partner with some of the elderly party members in the village. We have to provide them with great care, and some of the elderly party members, they are still very engaged, and we're just working together to develop our village. And this, I believe, is the spirit of the CPC members. I think I made the right choice.
Very nice choice. So for me, I think that this kind of selection also really the government release a strong signal.
To develop China's vast countryside.
So how do you bring more talents like Zhicheng to the village and retain them in the village so that they can contribute more to villages?
Like these two very good young men shared, they should be actually in the category of young talent, and they are very like to devote themselves working in the villages. So we talk about the whole program, like attracting the young talent to working in the village. So first we should have that the government support, and also we have the natural resources, we have all these environmental resources. This is something really cherished here in the village, and they think they can play a better role and a bigger role here in the villages. So besides attracting all them to the village, we should also to explore the local resources in terms of headcount, the talents. And last year, we worked with Tencent, cultivating CEO in the village.
Village CEOs.
Yes, so that's the CEO from the village that help the villages, the young generations, even the elderly people to develop their own local industries. So we talk about the produce, processing, and also we talk about marketing. So it's very professional to further to energize the village.
All right. For example, if I want to become a village CEO, and what procedures?
Well, actually, we had a pilot project. We also actually believe that quite similar, like the villages we see here, that it's a very good, nice environment. And also we like to take that Yunnan as in Damiaozhai village, that's the Miao minority village. So we have very strict projects. We have the a undergraduate, the postgraduates, and the PhD we received. That's the 105 candidates across the country, and finally 14 people come to the final list. And we select the final 4 candidates. They have quite a rich experience in hotel management, accounting, a job experience before in the companies, and also a planning job as well, and also someone also working for marketing as well. All these is really needed talents. Of course, they should be trained. And also in the Tencent project, we found a professor, the mentor, and from the universities, from the enterprises, from the international and the local organizations, help them to broaden their horizons. We talk about actually we need really talents that cross-discipline. They need to work for different projects, and also like we ask them to the village to really look at the local field and also to plan a project by themselves. And they also work peers. They have like kind of peer visit, so they visit each other's village. I believe that's a really good way to select and train the young talents. That's also a very good way to the rural revitalization.
So this, I think, is a very good model. For example, if you are the CEO of village in this town, and you can maybe bring the experience to another village.
Yes, this is actually the flow around the China, actually Zhejiang Yuhang specifically working very well. Actually, at the government level, the localities actually provide a base salary as 180,000 RMB per year, and they have their own industry. So, based on their performance, and they can get the commission. It's very like the CEO in different enterprises, but we talk about that's not only that involved in one specific industry. We talk about village, we talk about agriculture, we talk about the processing, we talk about services. Actually, that's primary, secondary, and tertiary industries all involved.
So in Zhejiang, you said it's doing very well, but does it have very good experience?
Yes. Actually, you can this project, yes, will roll out to other places. And also, I talked to Mr. Yu, and he said he also joined other projects very similar like the one we work with Tencent. Right now, China play a really big focus on the talent training.
So I think maybe I have the chance to become a village CEO, and it's too competitive to become a public servant, but that's not for me. So what do you think is a truly excellent village level cadre?
That you really know people's difficulties and help them to solve their difficulties. That could be a quality CEO or the cadre.
Very well said. So, Jihan, you are the head of a cooperative. Like the question I asked about Zhicheng and our international audience, they may not have any knowledge about cooperative. Tell us more about this cooperative. What are your advantages? So tell our audience what is this cooperative model in China, how you ran your cooperative, why cooperative in China is fitting China's national conditions, how important it is to rural revitalization.
So cooperatives actually is organized by ourselves. So for my cooperatives, is based on increasing yield and providing the services and the help to the farmers. So help them to really free their hands on farming. We use machines to help them increase the yields from their land. So we provide service and also help.
Well, in China, we have relatively less cropland in comparison to European countries and the United States. The arable land in China per capita is very limited. So in China, we have small farmers. They need the support of cooperatives so that the cooperative can put together the resources and mitigate the risks. So do you think this is a very good model to help those small farmers to achieve this scale of economy so that they can mitigate the risk? Yes, mitigate the risk. Because we do have a lot of scattered farming activities and small farmers, and maybe they can be put together.
Yes. We talk about that we only have a certain arable place. So we talk about put under this context with a 1.4 billion population. Then if we divided all these arable places, we just have that's really small, like the 1 mu. So we really have that really small arable place. So that's not really conducive to do the machinery production. So actually, the machines cannot play to its maximum role. But if, let's say, we bring out farmers to our cooperatives, then we can organize them all together, we can manage them all together, that's lower the working cost and also to increase the usage of machines. There are a lot of advantage. So when we do the procurement, actually help us to lower the procurement cost. And when we sell our produce, we can also sell in the box. So you could see that's really a good way. we could see a really good
It
income.
really is pooling together resources, maybe from smallholder farmers, pooling together risk, and allows them to optimize and better increase the efficiency of their farm work. 这是给我的一个概念。
Well, so that is my understanding. So those traditional small farmers, and they may not have the capital to purchase those advanced machinery, but with the
Yes,
cooperative, you
yes.
can do that.
Correct. Let's take corn, for example. We also provide that on the table. For me, actually, we introduced really quality seeds in my land to see whether that can adapt to the local conditions, to the weather. And we actually plot 8 seeds, and we select the best one with the highest yield, and then we could roll out to the local farmers, help them to increasing their income.
So I heard that the cooperative can expand the revenue sources for the villagers because they can earn a wage and they can also share a dividend. Is that correct?
Yes. We could look it into 3 parts, and also based on local farmers' willingness. Someone, they say, I can rent my land and I can get a rental, and so you can rent the land. And some people, I say, that you do not need to worry anything, that we actually hire someone to do all these for you. And also the local farmer saying, I would like to do the farm work in my land. But some we need to rely on the machines, and some services we need the people help me, so they can also come to us, so we can provide the help and the services to them. We have the working process in place, so we can do a good job. So basically, there's 3 different tabs.
Platform economy,
So this is just like the platform economy.
And then the cooperative can come over and provide that service for you. 金涵老师，要不您
So
介绍
Jihan,
山东的这个农产品
tell us something about the secret of the great taste of Shandong's agricultural products. Coming to Weihai of Shandong, you have all sorts of agricultural products, many different types. I'm not saying that the fruits and agricultural products in other parts are not good, but here in this part of the country, it's particularly good. All sorts of agricultural products, and it's truly very diverse. Yes, it's truly diverse, and you have very good quality of agricultural products. So what is the secret?
You see that you think they're so tasty, and also with this very beautiful environment. Why? Weihai here is the magical city because it's in a location. Here we close to the sea, so that's a northern latitude. That's a 30 degree. So in the noontime, it's still very warm, but in the evening it's very cold. So you could see there's a very big weather and the temperature difference. So you could see that the traditional Chinese medicine, the ginger, actually we have a really high quality and also the yield rate. So it's 5% higher than the other places. So it's actually 5% is really big number. So we talk about that also a lot of medicines. We talk about effective ingredients in the local produced medicine actually is much higher than the gingers from other places. So you're looking at, we talk about that the weather condition, the temperature, and also water resources, all the best.
I always believed that only with black soil can you come up with such great vegetable, but in Shandong it's yellow soil. What is the secret of high quality of food?
So yellow soil, so from my experience, we look into the detail, the quality of soil. We also test the quantity of we look at what is don't have. So we look at if you need the organic material to grow this kind of the vegetable, then we actually introduce these kind of organic materials to the land. And also plus all these very favorable conditions and also advanced technologies, then finally we got the best ones.
So I believe that because you have very static temperature, you just said this is not the case
Yes.
here. So this is what we call precise agriculture. In a lot of the provinces, we're talking about precise agriculture. We simply provide them with the most suitable climate. This is human intervention into the soil and mini-climate. This is the great practice here in Shandong. We have also been scaling up this practice here. We have 180 million mu of arable land. This is our bottom line. We have to well protect this cropland. We have to build 1 billion mu of high quality agriculture land. That is basically leveraging high technology so as to make the agriculture produce drought resistant, so that it can produce a high yield with good qualities, and also they can minimize their negative impact to the environment. So we can not just achieve food security, on the other hand, we can better meet the needs of the public, so they can be fed well and with high quality food. So we have to grasp this issue of food security. To that end, technology plays a very good part.
China is able to have bumper harvests every single year because China now has these types of high quality farmlands that despite floods, despite droughts, for example, 它是可以保收的. It guarantees a certain amount of production. That's why it's so resilient. You can have bumper harvests every single year. Last year, we had floods, maybe towards the winter season in the northern part of China. This year, we had extreme weather as well. We have pandemic disruption put in there as well. Russia-Ukraine conflict, all these kinds of uncertainties. Still, China can have bumper harvests and secure the food security of over 1.4 billion people. I think that in itself, in terms of governance capacity, is quite remarkable. This is my personal feeling. Because China is using
correct, I
less
agree with
arable
you.
land, a lot less arable land, if you look at the geography, compared to, say, the fields of the EU or South America or the United States. 个人的一个感受。
Yes. So China, in 7 consecutive years, we achieved a bumper harvest. But this year is another for sure. And based on the current situation, and we can achieve that 650 metric tons. So I think the most important is like first the infrastructure construction, that the irrigation, and we have the precise agriculture. So you could see that all these help to achieve a bumper harvest.
So what do you mean by this infrastructure?
And irrigation, we talk about like drought situation. You could see that we have all sorts of a system to help to channel the water resources to the farmland. And we also establish a sort of all these facilities.
So let me ask you again about this cooperative. Do you have any data or statistics? What substantial benefit you have brought to those villagers?
So for the farmers, when they rent their land to us, normally it's around 4,000 RMB. And if they entrust their land to us, it's depend on the willingness. We can do that a wholly entrusted mode. So if, let's say, they belong to our first and second level, it depends on where the location of the land. So we have a quality seeds plus in machines. We help them to increase the volume of the outcome, and actually the farmers take 60% and the cooperatives take 40%. So they really help them to encourage them to increase the yield, and they provide the land, but they can get 60% of the final income, the final revenue, and they also actually can work for us, and they could be another source of their income. So we talk about the rental and also dividends of the land and also salaries. So you could see that it's 3 sources of income.
From Mr. Yu's comments, my impression is that it gives perhaps farmers the opportunity and I guess the flexibility to earn more, because maybe some people in the countryside have not chosen to go and move to an urban area in search of a higher paying job. Maybe because they don't have the capacity to do so. But the importance of this aspect of the cooperative is that it provides that opportunity for you to succeed and perhaps earn a decent wage. That's my interpretation of what Mr. Yu just said.
Yes, as Mr. Yu said, that's one mold. Actually, if you look at the cooperative, there are so many different way of molds. Actually, in Jiangsu, based on my observation, they have a really big groups. So they not really rent the land to the companies. They just rent the land to the local village cooperatives. So based on the share of the land, they could be a stakeholder, and then the cooperative help them to manage all the lines. So briefly, we talk about the cooperatives. There are the disadvantages. So you could see that we look at, you can divide the lands in the village as 2 parts. Actually, for Mr. Yu, he's really good at farming. Then he could be the one actually own his land or own the part of the farming land. And for all the yield, they give back to the village. And for the actual amount, they can be as the dividends. So that's really help them to increase the efficiency. Of course, as the cooperatives, the assets of cooperatives, if say in the peak season, the busy season, then they can mobilize all the farmers to work in the villages, to plant the seeds or to do the harvest. That's a very good way.
Institutional advantage of China's system, the ability to organize very efficiently to achieve a common goal. I think that is definitely an institutional advantage.
So Zhenrong and Zhicheng, you are both very young. So do you hope to work in a village for a very long time? Yes, absolutely. So this is a very delicious agriculture product. And do you have plans to export them to other parts of the world? For example, this is the sweet potato. So this is actually a breed from Australia, and we have spread this in China, and this is a very good brand. But in terms of export, we have just started. We're not there yet. We are aiming at export someday in the future. So how did you find out that you have the perfect land for this sweet potato? Well, it's very nutritious. Our party secretary at the village, he was very good at those agricultural products. He is an agriculture expert. He found out that our village has the best soil for this breed, for this sweet potato. All right. Do you have farmers who live stream online so to promote their products so that even consumers in Beijing can purchase those products? Is there any very good marketing practice so that the consumers they get to know that in Shandong and in your village you have the best product? Well, to my knowledge, in Shandong there are a lot of live streamers. For my village, we have just started. Yet we are well recognized, and we have this very professional party secretary who is also an agriculture expert. He has the best knowledge about agricultural products. A lot of the villagers from nearby places, they come
What
here.
about the yield rate?
It's 4 to 5 and even to 6,000 caddies.
So I would like to know the selling price.
Well, if you go to the very upstream, it's 1.5 yuan. Sometimes it's 3 to 4 yuan. If you buy online, it's 19 to 20 yuan per caddy of breed.
So it is 19 to 20 yuan. And the sweet potato, you could see that really, really good.
So I think it's a good worth of money. And take a look at the big sites.
Selenium in this, I guess, purple sweet potato. So a lot of good mineral nutrients in this particular one. Carotene content is also high. So when I go back to Beijing, I'll definitely be on the lookout for this particular one. I think that'll be good for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Taobao, yeah.
So search online.
But this one was just taken out of the soil from yesterday, and you can see it has very good color. So, Zhenrong, how do you drive more villagers to grow your strawberry? Well, as I mentioned that our land is collectively managed by the village committee. We are also purchasing in more land from nearby villages. And starting from 2018, we have been acquiring more land. So we have been encouraging more farmers to get engaged in this strawberry business. We are actually growing a wide variety of produce, such as vegetables and fruit trees. We can sell through multiple means. We have our own brand, which is registered as a trademark. We have very good reputation here locally, and we can work together with some local customers, and they regularly place orders from us, and they would buy whatever we produce. And also on WeChat, TikTok, we have been making a lot of marketing efforts. On TikTok, for example, we can truly sell all across the country by express delivery services. So from one village to the entire nation. Well, that reminds me of something magnificent. China's infrastructure, road network is very important. I told my audience that this is the remote village in the past, but right now you have the best roads and transportation. So with live streaming, you can truly
have the distribution channels, right? That's why infrastructure is so important. We are close, for example, to the Weihai railroad station, which connects you to the provincial capital of Shandong Province. We are close to the airport, and that allows the local produce.
You're having great agricultural products, but you also have very good infrastructure of road, and that is why you can truly ship your products to all across the nation.
Correct. All these are invited by local governments. We consider the public good, so consider the infrastructure as public good. So these kind of investment actually the payback actually is not tangible, but actually everyone can feel that the benefits. Without all these roads, all the products actually could not sell to other places, cannot build these complete industrial chains. But we talk about you must have a really good logistic and warehouse system. You need to have a distribution center, right? So you need to have a really professional logistic system built up. You have all these kind of facilities like warehouse, so you can allocate different resources.
I want to share with our overseas friends a story or experience that I had going to Guizhou province, for example. So for our audience overseas, if you've not been to Guizhou province in the southwest of China, it is a very mountainous, hilly province. And the high-speed rail I've experienced there was absolutely amazing because you are going through tunnels, you are going through valleys, and a lot of the times you are just going through a tunnel in the high-speed rail. And when I went through all of these places, the tunnels, the mountains, the valleys, I got to my final destination, a village, and then we go down the mountain taking a road for about an hour, and then even in the valley of this mountain, I took out my phone I had 4G service full bar. So that is the power of China's infrastructure and connectivity, right? Connecting every single remote village, remote town, making sure that everybody's connected via broadband, via this kind of high quality infrastructure. Then really you can promote rural vitalization and rural development, giving the people in these villages the opportunity to thrive. That needs to be there.
Yes.
And then, Professor Zhang, I want to ask you about the importance of government investment, because you need to have, I feel, government investment first. This village we are in right now, government investment came in first, built the roads, and then that allowed private capital to come in as well. Sort of acts as a leading.
So the government took the lead. How important is this leadership?
Of course, that's the first and foremost, the most important one. That's a driving force. So we talk about all these institutional barriers, all the hardware difficulties, all removed. Then you could see that the flow of talents, flow of resources, and also the products, and also information get in and out. We talk about road, as you mentioned. We talk about internet coverage. As right now, you could see every corner of the country. This is something we should cherish and appreciate. You could see that in different places we can do live streaming. So you need really strong and solid telecommunication service. So for local villagers, there's a huge difference for them. So if you look at the rural revitalization endeavor in Shandong, so far we have seen as a big investment by government, that some places actually by themselves. But we look at the villages just lifted out of poverty, and the government focus more on these kind of the poverty shaken off places, to help them to build up their capability of the further developing their industry, and then inviting the investment, the capitals, the talents, and also the cultivating the local farmers to operate their industries in their village, and also to work with the outside resources. Like Mr. Yu, he's really good at farming, but he also can organize the local farms. And if he work with the other cooperative, the other enterprises, he has a very big say.
Professor Zhang, I want to also ask you, because now China has eradicated absolute poverty. The next step, consolidate those gains, and also achieving common prosperity. First of all, for our overseas audience, why does China want to achieve common prosperity? There might be some misconceptions and misperceptions as well, I would say, for our overseas audience. Maybe we start from there. Why does China want to achieve common prosperity?
When it comes to common prosperity, as General Secretary Xi mentioned, no rural revitalization, no national revitalization. So why we say this? So we mentioned before, 90% of the land actually located in these rural areas, and 40% of the population lived in villages. So we talk about the village provide really a food security for the whole nation, and also to provide a way of protecting lucid water and lush mountains, because these are the great assets for us. So this is a really good places, and also the buffer zone for us to protect the environment. And here, village also provide the values. We talk about it right now in China. More or less, we had sort of the link with the villages, with the rural areas. We talk about the biggest value that should come from the villages. So that is why we talk about the rural revitalization that help us to deal with the economic inadequate and imbalanced development, and also that also help us to tap the potential of our economy. So that help us to bring more vitality to our economy. We talk about consumption, we talk about infrastructure potential. All here should be further tap in. from these villages. We talk about common prosperity. I should leave no one behind. We talk about anyone, Chinese citizens, and should feel benefits from China's development. Of course, that include rural residents.
Maybe countries outside of China, we see that urban-rural gap is very, very wide. And China certainly doesn't want to see that because, like you mentioned, there are still a lot of people in China's rural areas because China has the world's most populous. It is the most populous nation, so we still have around 500 million people in the countryside. And like we were discussing, over 90% of the land, in fact, over 97% of the land in China is its countryside.
So this is not the case in other countries.
Yes, you could look at the later movers. They have this kind of big gap between the rural and the urban places. So that should actually, without OD support to the local government, they could not really make their sustainable development. So actually, we need that the outside driving forces to help the villages.
So if China wants to achieve common prosperity, its rural areas must be vitalized, right? So rural vitalization must be achieved in order for China to achieve common prosperity and modernization as well. Professor Zhang, I want to continue with you on this because, like I mentioned, China has relatively less arable land compared to other nations, and it needs to feed a country of over 1.4 billion people. And I just feel that national condition has propelled China to develop a lot of advanced technologies when it comes to the agriculture industry and allowed China to find and discover a lot of innovative ways to develop its agriculture industry and the countryside because of its national conditions. It has to do this in order to ensure the food security of 1.4 billion people. Sometimes I feel like maybe for our overseas audience, just imagine how complicated this process is. Feeding a country of such magnitude with limited resources and resource constraints when it comes to land and water, yet China is consistently able to do that. So there must be agriculture-related technology that has been developed from China's own experience that can help other developing nations when they try to perhaps inject vitality into their own countryside and help to feed their own people based on their own resource constraints. What do you think?
Yes, that's I can speak Chinese also.
Yeah. Go for Chinese.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I believe this is what we are doing now in China. You could see that especially after establishment of New China, you could see that China actually has been keeping share the experience in the agricultural sector, that we help the local farmer to build a land for them, to help them to know how to cultivate and the local resources. And that's also a very key way that we cooperate with the countries, especially in Africa. We talk about what we have done right now in Africa, that we bring the very simple technology into the African countries. So we talk about Mr. Yuan Longping, that's the hybrid rice. That's actually the really big milestone for us to achieve a food security. And right now, hybrid rice already introduced to many countries in Africa. And one of the cases I followed is in Madagascar. And this one place actually grow the rice. That's 3 metric tons per 1 hectare. But for us, we can achieve 7 to 8 tons. So that's a base number. And right now you could see from 3 to 7 to 8 tons that really help them to increase the efficiency. And Madagascar actually is the second biggest country producing rice. we talk about 3% of rice farming places, 50,000 hectares of land actually use the hybrid rice from China. Actually, they also bring that into their national strategy in terms of agriculture, and they would like to achieve that 20%. That's their goal. So look at the technology in agriculture sector experience we gained before. That's right now actually is learned and also implemented in other countries. We talk about less than 9% of the arable, the land that can feed 1.4, even less than 2 billion population. We talk about that rely on the advanced technology. We talk about the quantity, the seeds. And this is something China would like to share with other countries. And also we are willing to really share our civilization, our technology to other places, especially the less developed countries, so they also can gain benefits from ODs.
China's own development experience. That can provide, I guess, a lot of learning experiences and contributions for many developing countries around the world to perhaps solve their own food security and rural development issues.
Yeah.
子成老师，从您的这个工作岗位
Let's come to you.
因为我们在谈乡村振兴的时候，就
So when we talk about rural revitalization, and we find out every village is struggling to find a particular path towards prosperity, and your village is growing sweet potato, but yours is growing strawberries.
在您的这个岗位是如何去
So
选择模式，就是在
how do you select this model?
定期在讨论
So do you conduct regular
它是
discussions,
一个一直在变动
or
的
is it
模式吗？
dynamic,
就是 discover
or is it changing from time to time? So most of the times when we are confirmed with one business model, we're going to go for it. In my village, for example, when we have confirmed with this model, we're working together with other villages as well. And right now, for every village, there is a business model. For every town, there is a industry, and for every village, there is a specific business. We are now in Gangtai town. It's also known as the Apple town. The nearby town is also recognized as the cherry town because it produces very good cherries. We have another town that is nicknamed the town for lobsters because it produces lobsters. For your village, your development experience, do you share that with other villages and townships? Yes, there's a lot of information sharing. We are learning with others, and we also sharing
Yes,
with others.
that's we talk about the mutual learning.
Up to them
Yeah.
to choose which
Yeah.
one is suitable for them.
Yeah.
We are not imposing our model
Yeah.
on them, right?
Yeah. Focusing on
Yeah.
the strengths, the competitive advantages of the local conditions, because
Yes.
China's geography is very diverse.
Yes.
Each village, each small town and county may have its own advantages and
Yes.
focus on that. So a lot of great development experiences that we shared here. I think for so many different villages across China, they can learn from each other, like you mentioned, Professor Zhang. That's so important. Yeah, so 非常感谢各位
All right,
嘉宾
thank you
分享
very
这个
much
这个乡村
for your
振兴的
time, for
一些
your
经验和
discussion
想法感谢感谢
about rural
Okay,
revitalization.
so we are indeed all out of time, but thanks for joining us on our Fields of Hope Youth Roundtable, a mission to develop rural China. And I guess one of my major takeaways from this coverage is the importance of a nation's rural area to the future of the nation's development. Because, like we mentioned, oftentimes when we think about progressing with the times, when we think about modernization and the advance of technology, we might think about futuristic smart cities with self-driving cars and amazing urban conveniences. And we might just lose sight of the vast countryside that still occupy the majority of a nation's land area. And that's the case not just in China, but for most nations as well. In other parts of the world, rural areas, the countryside may have taken a back seat in the journey to modernization and urbanization. But China, through its development philosophy, has made it very clear. Rural development is indeed indispensable and vital to the country's modernization drive and future development. I'm Michael Wang in this village of Wang in the eastern part of Shandong Province. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next time.